guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. My name is Delisai. Some of you that are returning to my channel know that I usually do makeup tutorials. I'm very into makeup, or at least I was. However, now I'm going to be shifting my focus into my TTC journey, trying to conceive. I feel like it's really important for me to share my story so that other women can have someone to look at, someone to reference, someone to know what they're going through, maybe see similarities, maybe, and somehow help them. I don't know, but I just feel like my story needs to be shared because, trust me, from struggling so much, I've legit looked at so many YouTube videos. I've done so much research, and sometimes I don't see or find anything that's related to me. So I'm hoping that maybe my video can help somehow other women. So this video is just gonna be talking about myself and what led me here and what I am doing now. So stay tuned if you want to watch more. So to start off, and I'm gonna say this because I'm sure it's happened to many women, never did I imagine, and I mean it, never did I imagine that I'd be in this position in which I would be struggling with infertility. I legit thought that I would have kids right away and a family, and it'd be amazing. But the reality is it doesn't happen like you plan, and here I am, almost gonna be 36 years later after marriage. Until this day, nothing. I have not been able to have a baby, and man, it's just crazy to think that I'm even here. When I was 5, I lived with my grandma. My mom couldn't afford to raise me, so I went to go live with her. My dad came to the US when I was 3 years old, and so I was with my grandma. My dad finally decided to bring me to the US, and when I was 5, I came. Had my first birthday here with him, and it was just my dad and I did have my aunts and some cousins, so I didn't grow up with any brothers, any sisters. I didn't grow up with a mom and a dad. I just had my dad, and so my childhood was very lonely, and I think that left like a hole within me that I still have, that has not been able to be filled by anyone or anything. And I love my husband dearly, but that's a different type of love. But I feel like I'm missing something, and for many years I've struggled with, what is it? Why do I feel so lonely? Why do I feel so sad? I have family, I have my husband, but it's something that can't be filled with anything other than the joy of family, which is what I think. And so I've grown up feeling so sad and lonely. So I was really looking forward for this moment to finally come, in which I could finally at least make my own family, since I wasn't able to have a family growing up. And unfortunately, it hasn't happened. My dad was an amazing father, and I love him and adore him. He had his faults like every other parent. He's not perfect, but yeah, I really missed out on having a mother and siblings. It was really hard growing up, really hard. So in high school, I think I graduated 2012. Right after high school, I met my husband. Oh, I love him. And since 2012, we've been together till now, which is 2023. It's crazy. So we've been together for over 10 years. Yeah, it's gonna be going on 11. And so we met 2012. We dated for 4 years, and then we got married in 2016. And then we moved to Texas for 2 years, came back to California. So of course, when we met, we were like, no, well, that's the last thing we need is a child. But as soon as we got married, we're kind of like, well, we're married, so if it happens, it happens. I love kids. I've worked with kids at schools, and I was fine with it. So I was like, we're married, we're fine. We could start, if it happens, it happens. We're not going to be taking care of ourselves. Let's just go for it. So a few years went by, and the first year went by, we were good. No pregnancies, and we're like, okay, keep going. And second year came. I was like, dang, it's been 2 years and nothing. Like, you know, we hit our third year and we were like, this is kind of odd, you know, like it's taken a while. Like, always hear all these stories about girls that like, oh, one time I wasn't trying to and it just happened, you know. And so I was like, how is it so easy for them? Like, am I doing something wrong? You know, like after that third year, it was kind of like, okay, it hasn't worked. Now I really want to have a kid. Like, now I'm starting to get baby fever, but what's happening, you know? And so I was like, okay, whatever. My fourth year starting. By this time, I'm just kind of like, what the hell? Like, it's been 4 years. We have not been able to have a baby. There must be something wrong, you know? And at that time, I think I started going to the doctor to try to figure out like what's going on. I did some blood work and I think I kind of just stopped after that. They said I had low progesterone. So, you know, I didn't really know what that was. And then I had my doctor tell me that maybe I had endometriosis and that I had a fibroid in my uterus, and maybe that was affecting the reproductive system. So then I had to make another appointment. So then I ended up going to the specialist, right? And I told them like, hey, like it's been 4 years. My doctor saw this and this and this. Like, we think it might be endometriosis. We think that because of this fibroid, I'm not able to get pregnant. Like, you know, what's going on? I'm having abnormal bleeding when I'm not even on my period. And just this little things that I was noticing over time. And he was like, oh, well, that's normal. Well, like, that's dumb. No, it's endometriosis has nothing to do with it. Or no, your fibroid is normal. It's normal. So, like, he was just giving me this really bad attitude, like, just rude and kind of like, girl, you don't know what you're talking about. You're fine. It's just not your time. You know, and he just kind of dismissed me. He didn't really do much. And I think he wanted to like clear my tubes or check my tubes to make sure that they weren't clogged or anything. But at that time I didn't have insurance. So it was really expensive and I couldn't afford it. Like, I couldn't afford to keep going with what he was saying. And plus his attitude kind of just threw me off, kind of like, well, if it's normal, I'm fine. My ultrasounds are fine. My blood work's fine. I must be fine, you know? But in the back of my head, I'm like, how am I fine when I have a fibroid, when I have abnormal bleeding? I didn't get it at the time. But anyways, so at that point, I just kind of told myself, like, damn, like, I have something wrong with me. And, like, this guy's not seeing it. But, like, clearly there's something wrong because I have not been able to have a baby. And at that time, I was just so, like, frustrated, depressed. I was stressed out of my mind. Like, that's the only thing that was on my mind. Like, no lie. Like, every month was just a freaking disappointment. I don't know how much money I spent on freaking pregnancy tests, even when I knew, like, I never even had a missed period. Like, it would be 6 days before and I'd be testing because, like, yeah, you can't control it. Like, when you're trying to have a baby and you want it so bad, like, that shit goes out the window. Like, you don't care how much money you spend. It's just a way to, like, it was a way to ease my mind. I'm like, oh, I'll just take the test, see if I'm pregnant, because I wanted it to be positive so bad. And anyways, I hit rock bottom at that point. I think it was 2020, and I legit went into, like, depression. I'd feel so sad. I'd wake up with just kind of like, the fuck's going on? Like, what am I doing with my life? Like, you know, like, and then not only that, but I felt like I was letting my husband down because I know he wants kids too, you know? So that was like rock bottom for me. I struggled so much. Luckily, my husband was super supportive. He was always there for me. He would always, you know, try to make the best out of it, try to make me feel loved and special, try to tell me, like, that doesn't matter to me. You know, if you can't, then you can. It's okay. And, you know, those are things that are really hard because I'm sure men want to have a family too, you know? So for him to be able to tell me, like, even if you can't have kids, like, I'll still love you. I still want to be with you. Like, those are the things that are like, damn, like, you really do love me, because that's not something easy for anyone to, like, just give up, you know? So I'm super grateful for my husband. He's been so amazing through all this, and I completely, like, I really am very fortunate. So at that time, I decided to put my focus into something else because, guys, it was driving me crazy. Like, I was going crazy. And that's when I started doing makeup. I started to post, I started to engage with people online, and I was distracted, you know. I was genuinely happy, like I really was. And so thanks to my social media, like I was able to kind of like find that one thing that made me happy, that kept my mind off of the whole baby and trying to conceive stuff. So yeah, so I just, you know, we kept trying, but I just kept going on. That year went by. So the 5th year came along, and like I said, I was really distracted with my makeup. Like, I was really just enjoying it so much. And like I said, we kept trying, but it was what it was. Then finally, out of nowhere, I got pregnant, guys. It was September of 2021. I was pregnant, and it was the happiest day of my life, finding out that I was finally pregnant after all those years. After trying, I was finally pregnant. I was like the happiest woman on the planet. Like, just thinking about it and how happy I cried of happiness, and now I'm crying out of pain and sadness. Sorry, I had to pause for a second. But yeah, it was my birthday. I went to the doctor, I did my test, and they confirmed my pregnancy, and I was going to be due in May of 2022. Oh my God, guys, I was so happy. And unfortunately, my pregnancy only lasted 7 weeks. Like, that was it. It was 7 weeks of happiness, and I had a miscarriage. It was just very devastating because I remember, like, as soon as I found out, I called all my family, told my mother-in-law. Like, I was just so excited. Like, I just wanted to share with everybody, and I did, and I fucked up by doing that, because then when I had my miscarriage, guess what I had to do? I had to call everybody and tell them that I had a miscarriage, and that was hard because I had to retell my story over and over again, and what had happened and how it happened, and it was just so painful. Like, to this day, like, I just thinking about that day and that moment and how everything happened, like, I can't bear it. Like, it's too much. And this is why I want to share my story, because this fucking shit isn't not easy. It's not easy for everybody. Not everybody, you know, has the same journey. And so I want to share with you guys my story, and how it's been, and how hard it's been, and what I'm trying to do now. So after that rough year, yeah, I was even more depressed than I was, you know, the previous year. I think that hurt even more. But at least we knew, like, okay, well, we are able to get pregnant, you know. That was that one positive thing about that. But again, my amazing husband was there to pick up my broken pieces. I was able to rebuild. I tried getting back into my makeup, but then I became a little more obsessive with the fact of trying to have a baby. You know, you hear different stuff like, oh, well, after your miscarriage, sometimes it's easier for you to get pregnant. I'm like, oh, okay, well, hopefully. It wasn't for me, at least. And, you know, you always question, like, what could I have done different for that to not happen? But there isn't anything we can do. Miscarriages, they're so common. They happen so frequent. And again, that's something that we don't know. Like, I didn't know that. Like, I didn't even think that would happen. I even told myself, or I think my dad one day was like, oh, you need to take care of yourself, you know, just be very careful, you know, and I was like, well, yeah, Dad, yeah, like, I understand, I am taking care of myself, you know, but we've waited so long, and God finally gave us this child. I don't think he would do something like that and take him away from me, you know. And I'm like, hey, why did I say that, you know? Because exactly what happened. He gave it to me, and it's like, oh, that's what you think? No, girl, and took it away from me. It's so hard, guys. It's something that I do not wish upon anyone. Not only the heartbreak, but also the pain and what we go through as women. So yeah, so after my miscarriage, I think maybe like a few months went by, and I got this tatted. So it's little baby wings for my baby, because I want to remember that for forever. It brought me such happiness, and I don't want that to be forgotten, because I really was so happy. But we're in year 6 now, and we can now have insurance. So we're now going to see all the doctors. I'm having my husband checked out. I'm getting checked out. So this is why I'm saying this is my journey, and now it's really starting, because now we're gonna do everything that's in our hands to be able to have a child. And this is where my channel is going to begin. I will be posting some new videos of what I've done, and if you guys have any questions, please put them down, comment below. I want to be someone that you can use as an example, as reference, anything. Okay, so I will share my experience with you. Again, it's not easy, but I know that it'll help someone out there. And thank you guys for listening and for making it this far. And I will go in more details with whatever else you guys have questions on. I'm gonna end it here for now, because it's too many emotions. But thank you guys for watching. You have a great day.